Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
If you're navigating anxiety, depression, relationship challenges, postpartum struggles, or something else, you deserve care that meets you where you are. Grow Therapy is designed to help you find a therapist who fits your needs and supports the way you want to feel. They connect you with thousands of independent, licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions. You can search by insurance, provider specialty, treatment methods, and more to find a therapist who works for you. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/ACAST today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/ACAST. growtherapy.com/ACAST. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
You know what's faster than your paycheck? Literally everything. It's time to get your pay up to speed. With Earnin, you can access your pay as you work instead of waiting days and weeks for a paycheck. Get up to $150 a day with a max of $750 between paydays. No interest, no credit checks, and no mandatory fees. Because, hey, it's your money. Download the Earnin app now to get it and join millions of people making any day payday. That's EARNIN. Earnin is not a bank. Access limits are based on your earnings and risk factors. Available in select states. Expedited transfers available for a fee. Terms and restrictions apply. Visit earnin.com for full details.
Mint is still $15 a month for premium wireless. And if you haven't made the switch yet, here are 15 reasons why you should. 1, it's $15 a month. 2, seriously, it's $15 a month. 3, no big contracts. 4, I use it. 5, my mom uses it. Are you playing me off? That's what's happening, right? Okay, give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Avoiding your unfinished home projects because you're not sure where to start? Thumbtack knows home so you don't have to. Don't know the difference between matte paint finish and satin? Or what that clunking sound from your dryer is? With Thumbtack, you don't have to be a home pro. You just have to hire one. You can hire top-rated pros, see price estimates, and read reviews all on the app. Download today.
Hello, I'm Sarah, and welcome to the Whispering Woods After Dark. I've got one long story today, as per normal. It's a really good one, this. I really enjoyed researching and recording this one. I'll get straight into it. Are you ready for the story? Sharon Tate wakes with a jolt in the dead of night, heart pounding in her chest. The 26-year-old actress finds herself alone in a silent, sprawling house nestled in Benedict Canyon. Only a dim bedside lamp is on. She always keeps one lit for comfort, but the darkness beyond its glow feels heavy and watchful. As Sharon's eyes adjust, she realises with a chill that she is not alone. In the corner of the bedroom stands a shadowy figure, small in stature, its outline barely distinguishable from the gloom. For a moment, she hopes it's a trick of groggy vision. The figure remains unnaturally still. It reminds her of a creepy little man she would later recall. one that looked strikingly like photos she'd seen of Paul Byrne, the long-dead former owner of this very house. Frozen in terror, Sharon squeezes her eyes shut, willing the apparition to vanish. But when she opens them, the figure is still there, hovering by the foot of her bed. Finally, fear propels her into action. She bolts upright and runs out of the bedroom, down the hall and toward the staircase. Her bare feet slap the hardwood stairs as she descends, adrenaline surging. But what greets her at the bottom is even more horrifying than the phantom upstairs. In the faint light, Sharon sees what looks like a body tied to the staircase, a rope around its neck. Blood is everywhere. The figure, whether man or woman, she can't quite tell, has its throat slashed open. Sharon stifles a scream. For an instant, she has the dizzying sense that she is looking at herself. In her panicked, disorientated state, she cannot shake the feeling that the corpse could be Jay Sebring, a dear friend and former lover. Or chillingly, Sharon Tate herself. The vision is so ghastly and surreal that Sharon isn't sure if she's dreaming or in the grip of a waking nightmare. Trembling and desperate for relief, Sharon stumbles into a nearby sitting room. Her breath comes in shallow gasps as she fumbles for a light switch. The house is deathly quiet, as if holding its breath with her. She spots a built-in bookcase and, acting on a strange impulse, tugs it open, revealing a hidden nook with a small bar inside. Her shaking hands grape for a bottle. As she takes a gulp of whiskey to steady her nerves, her mind races. What did I just see? Was it a ghostly warning? A premonition? Gradually, the house returns to stillness. The phantom on the stairs is gone. Eventually, Sharon drifts into a troubled sleep once more, convincing herself it had to have been a hallucination or nightmare. Little does she know, this encounter will haunt her long after the sun rises. A chilling vision that, in hindsight, feels like a prophecy of doom. That terrifying night took place around 1966, when Sharon was an up-and-coming actress and model. At the time, she was staying at the Benedict Canyon home of celebrity hairstylist Jay Sebring, with whom she'd had a romantic relationship from 1964 to 1966. The house, located at 9820 Eastern Drive, had a history as twisted as a Hollywood thriller. Decades earlier, it belonged to actress Jean Harlow and her husband Paul Byrne, a movie producer. In 1932, Byrne died there from a gunshot to the head in an alleged suicide, though rumours of murder swirled. Locals whispered that Byrne's restless ghost still lingered in the home, and Jay Sebring, ever drawn to the morbid and macabre, had purchased the property in the early 60s, fully aware of its tragic legacy. Sharon Tate had spent time at the house during her romance with Sebring, and even after they amicably parted ways, he remained a close friend. When Sharon found herself between residences one summer, Jay offered his infamous Harlow house as a place for her to stay. The mansion was a picturesque 1930s craftsman, elegant on the outside, but steeped in unsettling lore on the inside. Late at night, every creak of the old floorboards seemed to carry a ghostly echo. It was here, alone in Sebring's house, that Sharon experienced the fright of her life, the encounter with the creepy little man upstairs, and the horrifying vision of the staircase. In that moment, Sharon felt certain she had witnessed something beyond a bad dream. A sort of vision of someone tied to the staircase, she later recounted, still shaken. It might have been me. It might have been Jay. Whoever it was cut open at the throat. The experience left her deeply disturbed. She confided this story to a journalist friend, wondering aloud if the ghost of Paul Byrne might have returned to issue her a dire warning. In the months and years after, Sharon tried to move past that night. She married Polish director Roman Polanski in 1968 and radiated happiness as she settled into a new home on Cielo Drive. Friends would later say Sharon referred to that Cielo residence as her love house, a fairy tale cottage where she felt safe and blissful. As for the Benedict Canyon ghost encounter, Sharon's family and closest friends were sceptical. After tragedy struck, they vehemently denied that Sharon had ever truly had a premonition of her death. Perhaps they found the notion too painful to accept, or perhaps Sharon herself doubted it, chalking it up to a frightening hallucination. In 1970, a sensational article in Fate magazine titled "Sharon Tate's Preview of Murder" brought the story to the public, suggesting that Sharon had somehow foreseen the carnage to come. The people who knew and loved Sharon insisted it wasn't so, that Sharon never believed in such omens, yet the details of her account were hard to dismiss. Many readers couldn't help but wonder if the house on Eastern Drive, already marked by the untimely deaths of Paul Byrne and others, gave Sharon Tate a genuine glimpse of her harrowing fate. Whether a supernatural warning or an overactive nightmare, Sharon's vision in that house left an impression, and it was not the last dark chapter linking Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, and the Benedict Canyon area. In a cruel stroke of coincidence, both Jay and the earlier mistress of the house, Jean Harlow, would also meet tragic ends far too young. Jean Harlow died in 1937 at the age of 26, and decades later, Sharon Tate, Hollywood's new rising star, would also be killed at 26 years old, just as her friend Jay Sebring died at the age of 35. These creepy coincidences led many to gossip about a curse. Paul Byrne's house had now seen multiple untimely deaths. Byrne himself, 2 other alleged suicides and a drowning, according to unverified local law, and eventually the murder of a man who lived there, Sebring, not on the premises, but close enough to feel cosmic in scope. Was the Benedict Canyon estate truly cursed? Did Paul Byrne's ghost return on that fateful night to warn Sharon and Jay of what was coming? And by August of 1969, any sense of security Sharon had cultivated in her love house was about to be shattered in a night of unthinkable horror. In the summer of 1969, Sharon Tate was 8 months pregnant and glowing with anticipation of motherhood. She and Roman Polanski were renting a charming home at 150 Cielo Drive, a secluded property at the end of a winding road in Los Angeles' Benedict Canyon. The one-time fairy tale cottage had been built in the 1940s, and hosted a string of Hollywood luminaries over the years. Actress Candice Bergman, who lived there in 1966, with music producer Terry Melcher, described it as a never-never land far from the real world where nothing could go wrong. The estate was tucked behind gates and century-old trees, complete with a guest house and a wishing well by the patio. In Sharon's time, it earned the nickname the Love House for the warmth and joy she felt within its walls. Sharon spent some of her happiest days there in early 1969, lounging by the rustic swimming pool, decorating a nursery for the baby on the way, and hosting intimate gatherings with close friends. But just as Candice Bergman mused, nothing could go wrong in that idyllic haven. How wrong she was. Unbeknownst to Sharon, the dark shadow that had brushed against her life in a dreamlike vision was drawing inexplorably closer. The previous tenant, Terry Melcher, son of Doris Day, had crossed paths with an aspiring musician and ex-con named Charles Manson in 1968. Manson, a charismatic cult leader with delusions of rock stardom, had been introduced to Melcher through Beach Boys drummer Dennis Wilson. At one point, Manson even visited 150 Cielo Drive, hoping to charm Melcher into giving him a record deal. Melcher heard Manson perform, ultimately refused to sign him. That rejection festered like a wound. By mid-1969, Manson was enraged and spiralling, preaching to his fanatical followers about an impending apocalyptic race war he dubbed Helter Skelter. In Manson's twisted mind, the luxurious Cielo Drive home remained a symbol of the Hollywood elite who had slighted him, and he hadn't forgotten its location. On the night of August the 8th, 1969, Sharon Tate had invited a small group of friends to keep her company, while Polanski was working overseas. In the living room, 35-year-old Jay Sebring joked and chatted with Sharon. They were as close as family. Also staying over were Abigail Folger, 25, coffee heiress and social worker, and her boyfriend Wojtek Frykowski, 32, an aspiring writer, who relaxed with drinks as the warm summer evening wore on. None of them could have imagined the nightmare that was about to descend. In the early hours of August the 9th, 4 of Charles Manson's devotees repped up the dark canyon road toward the end of Cielo Drive. Manson had instructed them to go to that house, the one Melcher used to live in, and totally destroy everyone in it, as gruesome as you can. In the deepest dark before dawn, the Manson family struck. They slipped over the gate wall of 150 Cielo Drive, armed with knives, a pistol, and unimaginable hatred. They invaded the house and fell upon the unsuspecting occupants. What transpired inside was a scene of pure terror that would horrify the world. The attackers, Charles Tex Watson, Susan Atkins, and Patricia Krenwinkel, with Linda Kasabian as lookout, showed no mercy. They bound Sharon and Jay together by the neck with a rope over a ceiling beam, subduing them and terrorizing the others. In the chaos, Jay Sebring protested the gang's rough treatment of the pregnant Sharon and was shot and brutally stabbed to death in front of her. Abigail Folger and but were chased down on the lawn and savagely murdered. 18-year-old Stephen Parent, a visitor who had been leaving from the guest house, was also gunned down in his car at the driveway gate. Finally, Sharon Tate, 8 months pregnant and trapped in a living nightmare, pleaded for the life of her unborn child. It was no use. The intruder stabbed her repeatedly in a frenzy of bloodlust, ending the young star's life in the most brutal fashion. By the time the murderer slipped away into the night, the beautiful love house on Cielo Drive had been transformed into a house of horrors. The next morning, the first to discover the carnage was Winifred Chapman, the housekeeper, who ran screaming from the property, shouting, "Murder! Death! Bodies! Blood!" Police who arrived at the scene found 5 bodies. Miraculously, one person on the property survived, the young caretaker, William Garretson, who had been staying in the guest house and was overlooked by the killers. The world soon learned of the Manson family murders, and the name Sharon Tate became synonymous with one of the most shocking crimes in American history. Even experienced investigators were shaken by what they found inside. In front of the couch, 2 pools of blood marked where Jay and Sharon fell. The word pig, scrawled in Sharon's own blood by Susan Atkins, dripped across the front door. And in a macabre twist of fate, reality did imitate art. Just 1 year earlier, Roman Polanski had directed Rosemary's Baby, a film about a pregnant woman terrorized by a satanic cult. Now Polanski's own pregnant wife had been slaughtered by cult killers in their home. One of the attackers, Tex Watson, had even sneered at Wojtek Frykowski during the rampage. "I'm the devil, and I've come to do the devil's work." The dark irony was not lost on anyone. A story about demonic evil had leapt off the movie screen and manifested in Polanski's real life. A coincidence that has led many to view Rosemary's Baby as a cursed film, forever entwined with the tragedy on Cielo Drive. That August night effectively marked the end of the 1960s in the public imagination. The era of peace and love had been stabbed to death alongside Sharon Tate. In the aftermath, Hollywood was overcome by panic and paranoia. No one could fathom a motive so twisted. Manson's delusional race war prophecy wouldn't come to light until his arrest months later. But one thing was clear: 150 Cielo Drive was now a monument of infamy. The once enchanted cottage in the hills had become a place of darkness. Even after the crime scene was cleaned and the blood scrubbed away, an intangible stain remained. Friends of Sharon described an oppressive aura clinging to the house, a palpable darkness that seemed to seep from the walls in the wake of the murders. It was as if the sheer brutality of that night had imprinted itself on the property, ensuring that the story was far from over. After the murders, 150 Cielo Drive stood quiet and empty. The owner, Rudy Altabelli, who ironically had been living in the guest house during Sharon's tenancy, he was abroad on the actual night, moved into the main house himself in late 1969 because he couldn't find anyone else willing to rent the infamous property. Altabelli stayed for 2 decades, insisting that the grotesque history did not affect him. But visitors sensed something was off. Those who stepped inside the house often felt an oppressive energy hanging over the place, like a cloud of grief and terror that wouldn't disperse. There were reports of the home's electrical systems malfunctioning inexplicably, lights flickering or radios turning on and off on their own. People spoke of cold spots in certain rooms on hot summer days, of pets barking at empty corners. Nothing overtly spectral, no chains rattling or ghostly figures saying boo. Yet the atmosphere was undeniably heavy. The home itself is haunted, one later tenant remarked, haunted by the memory of what happened there. Some even claim the spirits of the victims never fully left. Over the years, whispers spread of occasional paranormal occurrences. Inhabitants and visitors reported subtle but unnerving phenomena. Objects that mysteriously moved from one place to another. Doors found open that had been closed. A breeze carrying the faint scent of women's perfume through the halls. A few people swore they saw shadowy silhouettes or felt presences. According to one popular legend, the ghost of Sharon Tate has been glimpsed wandering near the site of her former home. By the early 1990s, the owner finally decided it was time to erase the physical structure of the murder house. In 1994, the original house was torn down, razed to its foundations. A new luxury villa was built on the lot, and even the street address was changed from 10050 to 10066 Cielo Drive, in an effort to dispel the past. But as one paranormal enthusiast stated, energy cannot be destroyed. The land remembers. Not long after the new mansion went up, odd stories began to emerge from the neighbours in the canyon. In 1999, a man named David Oman and his father purchased a vacant plot just 150 to 200 feet from the old Tate property, down the same private drive. They built a modern house on the steep hillside and moved in around 2002. David Oman had no particular connection to the Manson case at first, but he certainly does now. Almost immediately during construction, workers on Oman's house reported strange goings-on. One labourer fled the site and refused to come back for weeks after hearing unsettling footsteps and feeling like an unseen presence was watching him. Oman himself soon experienced what he describes as a barrage of paranormal activity. Lights turned themselves on and off, doors unlatched and swung open on their own, and then came the apparitions. Oman claims that on multiple occasions he saw full-body spirits inside his new home. In one especially chilling incident, he woke to see a figure standing at the foot of his bed. The unmistakable form of Jay Sebring, the slain friend of Sharon Tate. The apparition of Sebring appeared solid and lifelike, dressed just as he might have been in the late 60s, silently pointing as if to draw Oman's attention toward the site of the murders down the hill. Before Oman could react, the figure vanished. It was an encounter he would never forget. Word spread quickly in the paranormal community that the area around the old Tate house was a hotspot of ghostly phenomena. Investigators with EMF meters, spirit boxes, and infrared cameras flocked to Oman's residence, eager to communicate with whatever lingered. The house's activity was extensively featured on TV shows like Ghost Hunters and ghost adventures, earning it nicknames like the Mount Everest of haunted houses and Disneyland for the dead. Ghost hunters described disembodied voices captured on tape, sudden cold drafts on warm nights, and even physical touches from unseen hands. On some evenings, phantom figures have reportedly been seen peering from the brush along Cielo Drive, or flickering briefly into view inside a man's home. Many are convinced that the spirits of Sharon Tate, Jay Sebring, and their friends are frequent visitors from beyond, unable or unwilling to move on. Oman himself believes Sharon's spirit has made her presence known, gently, without malice, as if watching over the place where her life was so cruelly cut short. Even those who are skeptics can't completely ignore the strange tales. In one account, a paranormal researcher named Scott Michaels, an expert on Hollywood tragedies, brought some physical relics from Cielo Drive into his own home, pieces of stone from the fireplace that he had collected when the house was demolished. Afterward, Michaels reported seeing a shadowy person standing in his bedroom doorway on 2 separate nights. He later learned that psychics who visited could sense an energy emanating from the exact spot where he stored those fireplace stones. Could a fragment of the house carry a spiritual imprint? Michaels wasn't sure, but he didn't keep the haunted stones for long. He also experienced a bizarre incident on the 50th anniversary of the murders. While driving up Cielo Drive to pay respects, his well-maintained van spontaneously caught fire without explanation. He recalled that multiple psychics had warned him not to go up there that day. The timing of the vehicle fire, right at the entrance to the old property, on the very date of the massacre, sent a chill down his spine. Maybe it was just a freak coincidence, or maybe the unseen forces of Cielo Drive were sending a message.
Hey, Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I don't know if you've heard, but Mint's premium wireless is $15 a month. But I'd like to offer one other perk. We have no stores. That means no small talk. Crazy weather we're having. No, it's not. It's just weather. It is an introvert's dream. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, $15 per month equivalent required. New customer offer first 3 months only. Then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
If you're navigating anxiety, depression, relationship challenges, postpartum struggles, or something else, you deserve care that meets you where you are. Grow Therapy is designed to help you find a therapist who fits your needs and supports the way you want to feel. They connect you with thousands of independent, licensed therapists across the U.S., offering both virtual and in-person sessions. You can search by insurance, provider specialty, treatment methods, and more to find a therapist who works for you. Whatever challenges you're facing, Grow Therapy is here to help. Sessions average about $21 with insurance, and some pay as little as $0 depending on their plan. Visit growtherapy.com/ACAST today to get started. That's growtherapy.com/ACAST. growtherapy.com/ACAST. Availability and coverage vary by state and insurance plan.
It's so harrowing, this story. I don't even know what to comment. And how terrifying if Sharon did actually see that premonition, because I imagine that it was something that would always stay with you, even if it was years and years before. To have seen something so terrifying, I think you'd know the difference, that maybe this was a premonition. I've had a few sort of premonition dreams that have driven me a bit crazy, I must admit. And even, I come around sometimes from regular nightmares and I'm like, what was going on? And they leave you with a bad taste in your mouth and you feel affected all day. Well, I do sometimes. And my daughter does. Like, if she has a bad nightmare, it can leave you feeling unsteady, I think, for the day after at least. So I can imagine what she must have felt, knowing that she was kind of awake and seeing herself, Jay, whoever it was, like that. Terrifying. Well, that's the end of this story, and I'll catch you again tomorrow. Take care, everyone.
Parles-tu français?
¿Hablas español?
Parli italiano?
If you've used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based technique teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world. With lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers, Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/acast. Spelled BABBEL.com/acast. Rules and restrictions may apply.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy to see if you could save when you bundle your home and auto policies. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
Hey, I'm Paige DeSorbo, and I'm always thinking about underwear.
I'm Hannah Berner, and I'm also thinking about underwear, but I prefer full coverage. I like to call them my granny panties.
Actually, I never think about underwear. That's the magic of Tommy John.
Same. They're so light and so comfy, and if it's not comfortable, I'm not wearing it.
And the bras, soft, supportive, and actually breathable.
Yes, Lord knows the girls need to breathe. Also, I need my PJs to breathe and be buttery soft and stretchy enough for my dramatic tossing and turning at night. That's why I live in my Tommy John pajamas.
Plus, they're so cute because they fit perfectly.
Put yourself on to Tommy John.
Upgrade your drawer with Tommy John. Save 25% for a limited time at TommyJohn.com/comfort. See site for details.